everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well out there, enjoying yourselves. We got a Newburyport music show for you today here from our studios. You know how much we love that. Of the band Hank Wonder, Darren Buck, and Mike Gloria.
Just another night out, too much on my mind. I've been thinking about an old friend who's going through some hard times. When my head hits the pillow, my thoughts are running wild. I can't let a friend just suffer, just ain't my style. In the midnight hour, well, it can feel so rough when everything's gone sour. You're not sure who to trust. Don't you worry about the time, 'cause I ain't never hard to find. Whenever you get down, I'll be up. When the black night is covering your street like a shroud, and you feel like the only one still awake for miles around. Well, there's a hotline in my heart. The number's been the same right from the start, and I'm standing by to take your call. Dial it right now, yeah. Yeah, right. 'Cause in the midnight hour, well, it feels so rough. True love is gone sour. You're not sure who to trust. Well, don't you worry about the time, no, 'cause I ain't never hard to find. Whenever you get down, I'll be up. Hey, don't you worry about the time, 'cause I ain't never hard to find. Whenever you get down, I'll be up, yeah. I'll be up. Oh, no, I will. I'll be up. I'll be up. I'll be up. When the midnight hour, I'll be up. When the sun goes down, I'll be
Darren Buck, Mike Gloria of Hank Wonder. How are you, boys?
Good, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for
Here.
coming in. First time on the show for you guys. And you did one of my favorite things. You brought an album, which is one of my favorite things these days. All the nice pictures on the back, too. Very good. We'll talk more about this later, but I love that we're going to add it to the wall here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I've been trying to make this happen, and we finally got a date that works. Beautiful.
Yeah, we're psyched. We're psyched to be here.
Yep.
Good, good. Well, welcome to Newburyport. You spend lots of time here in your life or not so much?
Used to a lot. So I spent most of the day going around taking pictures of like Angie's food
Okay.
and different places where we've taken our daughters for breakfast and dinner.
All
So-
right.
and sending them texts all day.
There you go. Very good. Mike is on guitar. Darren's with the booming voice there. That voice, I think I first heard him trying to, well, I most recently heard, what was that? The Crystal Ballroom in Somerville, right?
It was a fundraiser.
Yes, for,
Yeah.
with you were playing with Chad Stokes and
Yeah.
his project there, and I said it was a small little room, and I was like, God damn, that man can sing. I looked you up, and you had all this original work, and I said, oh, let's try to get him on the show. So there you
Wow,
go.
I'm honored. Thanks so much.
There you go. When did you learn you had that gift? 6 years old, 7, or?
It's kind of a long story, but I was little. I was in line at the DMV with my mom, and she was talking to some woman, and she was a choral director.
Yeah.
And I didn't even remember singing before that, but I stepped right up. I said, I can sing. And so from then on, I was in the Little Singers of Greater Boston. That was
All
probably
right.
the beginning in 3rd grade.
Very cool.
like that,
So you
yeah.
did start young, though.
I did,
Yeah.
pretty young.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your story? The musician from the same time, 6 years older?
No, basically, cover rock and roll bands
Sure.
my whole life, and then I fortuitously came across Darren and Annie, and Hank Wonder happened, and that's been the last 10 years of our lives.
All right, yeah. So let's go with that. Where's Hank Wonder at these days? It's a decade. Is it just hit a decade?
Yeah,
All
we
right.
had our 10th anniversary show last November.
Wow.
So we're coming up on 11 years.
Congratulations. That's,
Yeah,
that's a
thank you.
long time for a band. I hear they're not that easy to keep together, this whole band thing.
This is different.
They're not. When you meet the people that are, there's no drama in this band. There are no divas. I mean,
Okay.
it's just an amazing group of trio. So Annie's not here today. She's our fiddler.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's a trio. Sometimes we add people in performance and production for recording. But
Gotcha.
it's, at the core of it is a trio.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, you guys in? You're playing all around New England mostly, or you try to take the big
farthest
tour?
we've gone is Georgia a couple times,
Okay.
but mainly New England.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had we play a lot at Club Passim
Yeah.
in Cambridge, and
Great
we used to play
room.
at Atwoods a lot in the Burn.
Yeah.
And we played at Fresh Grass out in North Adams last September, which was a big get for us
Yeah.
at the big festival there, and played on the stage with a lot of great musicians, and,
Oh,
and
cool.
that opened up a whole new audience out in Western Mass too.
That is the good thing about those festivals, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always like there's just somebody, you catch somebody's ear that just wants more, and then it kind of, a new fan base kind of starts.
Totally,
Exactly.
totally,
That's
totally,
exactly
yeah.
right.
I've never been to that one. You could take the freshwater one?
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Fresh Grass, yeah.
Fresh
it's
Grass.
Right
Yeah,
on the
great
grounds
vibe.
of the of Mass MoCA, which is the largest contemporary art museum in the United States. I'm a high school art teacher, so
Oh, okay.
put that in there.
Currently you are?
I am.
Oh, cool. Where at?
Dover Sherburne High School.
Oh, nice.
So actually, my old high school and also Chad's old high school.
That's
Mentioned Chad
okay.
before, yeah.
Yeah. What's that like? Well, actually, look at the Chad later. How's teaching like these days?
It's good.
Yeah. Those damn kids? No, just kidding.
Those damn kids. I'm in year number 21.
Wow.
And I never thought I'd be a teacher, so in a lot of it, it's still a very unexpected career track for me. But
Yeah.
it's great because I'm able to make my own art, visual art, and my own music too at the same time. And sometimes, yeah.
Funny, because I feel like most people that become teachers like always wanted to be a teacher. You not so much.
No, it wasn't. It was totally unexpected, and it fell in my lap. And I had done a lot of performance and a lot of visual art, but it was never something that I even considered. So
Yeah.
21 years ago, that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there you are, and you love it.
I do, yeah. I mean, at
Yeah.
some point, I'm ready to kind of
Yeah.
put more of the music in my life and more
Sure.
of the art in my life. But teaching's been a great job, and the colleagues are great, and
Yeah.
kids are great.
I do a little tennis teaching with kids, and
Yeah.
I just very I never even thought I'd want to teach a group of. Usually, I'd keep it like a 5 or 6
Yeah.
handful of private lessons as a little side gig, and I kind of let that go for a while. And then a friend of mine who I used to teach tennis way back, her older sister was my high school year, so that tells you there was a big age difference.
Yeah,
And I taught her as a kid. She goes, I started teaching after I played high school tennis. I was, the star tennis player. I was like, oh, no kidding, that's great. And she goes, I got this group. I would love for them to keep playing tennis, but I'm moving away. Can you take them? And I was like, groups of tennis kids, not really my favorite thing to do. And I've had them for 5 years now. I love them.
Wow.
It's like, I've seen them grow in now. Some of them are like starting to play, and they're like going to play high school tennis. And there's just something
Yeah.
rewarding about working with kids,
Yeah, it's funny you should mention tennis because Mike was offered to play tennis today, and he
Yeah, it turned out.
You're
it went-
skipping
Yeah,
tennis?
skipping tennis.
Wow, it's the biggest honor I could get, and I'm also sorry.
But I also heard you're a teacher, so I need serve help. So before I leave, I might ask.
What's your problem? The toss or?
I don't have any velocity behind my, so I think it might be the toss.
Toss, yeah. You go high. Usually, you want to give yourself a lot of time. Don't put that racket right behind the head. Keep it all together as one part for a while.
Okay.
Then, as long as you can, toss high, and don't put the racket right behind your head. There
Okay.
you go.
All right. I'm gonna
Most people who struggle with velocity, it's because they do that quick, it's almost like a pitcher throwing a fastball, and you throw it from
okay.
your ear. Most people go right behind their head, and it's a little jabby. You gotta be long with it,
Okay.
Look at all those 6 foot the serve bots, the 6'6" guys. They're all tall and they're coming down from 8 feet. That's what I always tell people. We'll get out there later.
Well,
Wow. It's all Greek to me.
It's my favorite sport.
That's great.
It's never like what I mean. I played it in high school, but I never thought I'd like grow to love tennis as much as I do. And now it's like all I want to do for exercise. I don't know.
I feel like another big tennis fan is Marcarelli.
Oh yeah, I know.
I think he wasn't he a tennis. I feel like he played.
I didn't know that. He was just here on Plum Island, I believe, for Plum Fest.
Oh, okay, good, yeah.
Which is a big. I don't know if you guys would be a great fit for that.
Yeah, hey.
We should get you into that next year.
I would love to.
It's pretty much Plum. Plum Island is part of this Newburyport, but Newburyport, and it's you cross the bridge. They got their own airport. It's like a whole new world over there on the beach, and they shut down the whole island, not literally, but almost literally. It's if you're not people that are not participating in Plum Fest kind of leave for the weekend because it's all music, like 60 venues, porches.
Cool. Well, we would
beaches.
love to. Yeah, whatever we have to do to.
We'll get you out. I'll throw a number that way.
Okay, cool.
So tell me a little bit, because you have been wild with Hank Wonder. One of my favorite musicians is Chad Stokes, who has been on this show before. And I'm not a friend of Chad's, but I've got to know him a little bit, and I always find him to be the sweetest interview in the world. Is it true, or is he a real jerk?
Oh my God, he's one of the greatest people I know. I mean, one of the warmest, most modest people that I know.
Yeah.
And we've known each other since we were kids.
Yeah.
I've grown up in Sherburne, but our friendship didn't really start to strengthen until after when I moved to New York after college, and my band at the time, Professor Spoon, was starting to get some traction in New York, and One Fell Swoop was just starting to make it out of the college scene, and they were playing at New York clubs, and then they eventually obviously became Dispatch. But that's when he always knew who I was because I was 4 years older, in all the shows and everything. But yeah, that's when our friendship really kind of bonded. He lived in my apartment for a while, and now since then it's just been a lot of creative collaboration. Yeah.
You guys sound great together in this latest project. Why don't you tell people a little bit about it, because it's I know you've been running with it for a while. I'm not sure where it goes in the next few months, but tell everybody what you've been up to.
Well, it's a rock opera that he has been working on for a long time, and has mentioned it to me many times, saying, I think there's a part in it for you, but this was something that he was working on in between tours with other bands and other musical projects. And then last March of 2024, if that's this March, I don't know, but it finally had come to a point where he was ready to assemble a cast and start trying it out. So our first show ever was 3 nights in a row at the Levon Helm Barn out in Woodstock, New York, which was, if you're going to start somewhere.
Unbelievable place. I was so upset I couldn't get to that. I think I was out of town. I had or maybe a wedding or something. It was something like I couldn't skip to get there. And because I love that. It's a special place, isn't it?
It was amazing. You could feel it too. Like you could feel the history. I'd been there to see a show once before, and it was kind of a dream that I could maybe one day sing there.
Sure.
And so that was amazing. And then we've just kind of, since then we've been to Chicago, Martha's Vineyard, New York City. We're going back to New York City, going to New Hampshire. So it's really starting to pick up steam, and acquired a director that's now working with Chad to kind of trim the show down a little bit and kind of leave only what really serves the plot.
Gotcha.
And so he's amazing because he's so amenable to change, and I know it's got to be tough for him because he's written so many great songs that aren't going to make it in the final. And they have to just be kind of discarded along the way. But then writing new songs that really have the thing more cohesive and making more sense. And the cast is amazing. One of them is his brother. And and then there's members of the Pintos in that band and other people that I've been affiliated with through the years with different projects of his. And then we're bringing new cast members on, and it's amazing. I can't say enough about it. It just keeps me. I work 9 to 5, but I'm thinking about it all the time.
I'm sure he'll like to hear that too. Chad actually mentioned it to me years. We got to a point where I had been interviewing him enough regularly, like at least once a year for his fundraiser, and I was probably at least talking to him once or twice a year for interview purposes. And he had mentioned the potential of a rock opera to me so many times that when it was finally ready, I remember asking him, "So what else is up? What's next?" and kind of knowing the answer. And he goes, "Well, it's going to be funny to say my new project, Drew, to you, because I've mentioned this for so many years, but the rock opera is it was not a secret. He had been really grinding on it for a while."
Yeah, totally. And that it's worth saying it's called 1972.
Yes.
And it has a character named Hannah at its core, and she is fleeing an abusive relationship in pre-Roe v. Wade America, and 7 weeks pregnant, and she's seeking she wants to get out of that relationship. She knows she has to get out of that, but she also is seeking a safe procedure. Doesn't know where to turn. Ends up stumbling upon this freight yard, this train yard, and meeting all these people that are jumping the trains, and kind of becomes part of that community. Not after some struggles, but eventually, it's a great story.
There's so many social issues that connect with present day America and world, too, obviously. And it's interesting because I told people that plot of the. I would see Chad, he's doing this, and some people that were, maybe not obviously as big of fans as me, but music fans. Oh, is that what he's up to? And they said, oh, that seems like a heavy night out, and it's true. It is. It's not. But the music. It is also just. It's also a joy to listen to. Yeah. It's that magical ride of serious, hard topic, sounding beautiful. It's crazy.
And I think somebody, Tommy, who's in the show, who's plays bass in the Pintos, also they were saying that. It's the best protest is works best when it's wrapped up in beauty like that. When it's actually gets in to your ears and has that message at its core, but is beautiful to listen to and beautiful to watch. Yeah, and I think that's the most effective form of protest. That's one way of looking at it.
What is it you think that struck the chord for you with why do you think Chad picked you? Essentially, he was looking for obviously a big booming voice, obviously, but but I'm sure he's very particular. Why do you think he went in your direction?
I think he just needed. Well, I play a villain. That's one of the parts I play. So I don't know if he saw a villain in me, but I know that he had seen me. He is a big Jesus Christ Superstar fan. Yeah, and I think Judas has the big. The big like villain song, very rock and soulful, and he loves Tommy, he loves all these great rock operas, and I think he knew that there's all those shows have some big moment. Not that I'm claimed to be the biggest moment of the show, but where there's some villain or some really outlandish voice.
Sure.
So
and you embrace this.
I do embrace it. Yeah. And maybe I do have some villain inside me. I don't know,
but it's been a joy for you. You've been loving.
It's been a joy, and also the cast. I can't say enough about them. Just we all love each other, and now we've bonded over several trips across state lines in a van. Doing the whole show on the way to a show. Rehearsing in this tight little van. So, and I never really toured as a musician, so I'm getting a little bit of a taste of what that feels like. You go to a city and you're not really vacationing in that city at all. You're working the whole time during the day, and then you do your show, and then you sleep, and then you get up again, and he's changing things all the time. So we're rehearsing. We've already done. I've become in charge of designing the book. Okay. So there's already been 3 iterations of the book, and there's about to be another one. So that's interesting to see. I have to say, it's just cool to see. I'm an artist myself, but to see an artist working from my vantage of seeing him build this thing with all of us collaborating, it's just cool to see another artist having that happen in front of you.
Last one on this particular tour. Do you ever? You mentioned Chad has obviously had the chance to tour the country, and I think he brought Dispatch to the world too.
The world, yeah.
I forget all the cities he went to back in the day. But did you guys ever ask him as you're bouncing around and playing these places and to these new audiences, trying to try this thing? It might work, it might not. Who knows if they're going to be receptive? Do you ever say to Chad? He goes, you had this massive band that brought 100,000 to the hat show. What the hell are you doing here?
I don't know. I mean, I think we haven't asked him that, or at least I haven't. But I think that Dispatch obviously continues to be a thing too. So, but it is interesting that he's seen all these. We pull into New York, and he and I reminisce about our time in New York together, and then I'm thinking, well, he has a whole other memory of like Madison Square Garden selling out, multiple nights. It's like I don't have those memories, so it's cool to think that we both have our view of New York as we pull in. But yeah, he's seen a lot,
Sure.
And that Dispatch continues to. Move along.
Yeah, and it's still great. It's always been the appeal of him has always been kind of that for me too. He's one of my favorite songwriters, but it's also like just mysterious. He's like, "What's the next project?" Okay, gonna walk away from it all. I get that. Okay.
And to your point, it is a risk. To do this is a risk. To try this out, and it could not work at all. I mean, it seems to be working, but you never know. There's so many shows that try to go to market and stall on the way. Yeah. So it is a risk, and I think he knows that. I know Sybil, his wife, who's also a producer on the show. She knows that, but they believe in it, and we all believe in it. So
very cool.
Hopefully that counts for something.
Well, if you ever go the chance to see that at some point, people, Darren Buck, he sounds great in it with Chad and the whole gang there. Have you, Mike? This is what's your favorite part about playing here with Darren? Is it it's a small trio, right? Usually your core is a trio, so it's you say you all get along. Tell me the real truth, though.
No, the real truth is that we it was funny when we started. We decided from our very first time we got together to talk about it, and initially we got together to do a fundraiser for a friend that needed financial support for, I think it was a liver transplant or something. And
Okay.
so we got together and played, and Chad came up and sang "What's So Funny About Peace, Love, and Understanding" with us, and then that just blossomed into people were asking, "What's your next gig?" And we were like, "Well, we don't. This is it. We didn't have a next gig."
Yeah.
So, but then we kept playing, but we decided we were always going to be pretty low friction, and so, and then plus we're all, we're not young.
I was going to say, you've been through bands with drama before, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And, we're all parents and everything else. You get a different perspective on life.
Who's got time for that crap?
Yeah.
So
We're
it's
very
been-
thankful, openly thankful to each other about the being in this band together.
But I will admit, I always tell people one of the fun things about my position on the stage is I get to start the songs, and then he opens his mouth, and I get to see the audience's face when they're like,
"Oh God, I can."
That's a good thing.
I can imagine. Yeah.
and I stand there and watch them all, and it's like,
Well, there are very. I mean, I think of the best, my favorite singers of all time, and but there's so many few singers that can do that, just keep climbing and climbing. I guess Freddie Mercury comes to mind, and there's other big voices out there. But it's like you don't see it that often. It must even for me, just in here with you, it's like I've heard you sing before, but in a small room, it's like, my God, can the walls hold? That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think on a random note, but one of my big heroes growing up, because I used to see him play at Harvard Square as a busker, was Marty Sexton.
Me too.
Yeah, and he continues to be. I mean, he's been a friend for years, but we haven't been in touch for a little while. But his voice. I had a little cassette tape that I taped off a boombox right in front of him in Harvard Square, and I lived with that tape for years. I felt like I learned so much from it.
Yeah.
He's one of those voices.
Yeah, he is. He actually kind of helped facilitate it here a little bit, but I had a chance to interview him, and he ended up playing the Firehouse over here in Newburyport, a double bill, which was, I think, a new venue for him, and I think a little bit smaller than he would usually play. It's less than 200, and I'm not exactly sure what he always gets for an audience, but they made it work. He did double bill 2 shows.
Yeah.
And I know there was he went a whole different crowd over here in Newburyport, because some people, amazingly, for me, it's like Martin Sexton. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's amazing how somebody, not a young guy either, and like so many people, music fans even on the street, are like, "Who are you talking about? I've never."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
How have you never heard of Martin Sexton?"
It's crazy.
So I don't know. Music's weird like that, but.
And one of my memories, I don't want to go too long, but one of my memories was when I lived in New York, and it seems like everywhere I was, like Harvard Square, growing up in Sherburne, taking the train into Harvard Square, and then going to Syracuse where he was from, so he would play at Syracuse a lot.
Yep.
And then moving to New York City right when he was starting to break into New York. One time he played at the living room. It was the CBGB's gallery. It was right next to CBGB's where that used to be, and it was kind of like a Passim sort of thing, but owned by CBGB's. And we went to see him, and we're sitting there in the booth, and this older gentleman gets escorted to the booth right next to us with a cane, very well dressed, like as slick as you can get. And it was Ahmet Ertegun, the founder of Atlantic Records, co-founder. And he got signed to Atlantic like the next week.
No kidding.
So it was like I made the mistake of telling Marty that I think I just saw Ahmet Ertegun in the booth, and because he was in the bathroom, he's like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Why did I say that?"
Before he went on?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Like, why did I tell him that? But it didn't hurt him because I think he's just got nerves of steel.
It was the worst show of my life.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks,
man.
Darren.
He's amazing live. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah,
Just like
great.
you guys, Martin, one of our favorites. So very good. You guys got another one for us? You want to keep playing?
Sure.
and do
Should we do the late bloomer? Or
Loons.
Okay, we'll do
Let's do
Loons.
Loons.
We're going to end with a banger, but we'll do these are slower, more contemplative songs.
Very nice.
It's called Loons on the Lake. It's on our second album, Waylaid.
Darren Buck and Mike Loria of Hank Wonder. Take it away, boys.
Black and white bird, off in the night, caught in a cove somewhere. Send me a sign, something sublime, let me know you're there. high lonesome call, quivering cry, my lakeside lullaby. Sing me to sleep, diving so deep, loons on the lake. Until we return, my family and I, to that little rental. I'm pining for things that nature provides, so elemental. Lazy old sun, sink out of sight. Time has come to savor the night. We all need a break, for goodness sake, loons on the lake. When this old world is breathing in pessimistic pollution, because of a bird I'm believing in such a simple solution, yeah. We'll just invite all the parties involved. In one night all the problems are solved. Just let them talk out on the dock, loons on the lake. Take it from me, it's all that you need, loons on the lake. Moonlight will glisten, can't help but listen to loons on the lake.
Nicely done, Darren Buck, Mike Loria of Hank Wonder. Very beautiful. There you go. You just took me to Lake in Maine right there.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
There you go.
Which one?
We're up on Moose Pond up there.
Oh,
with
Moose
family.
Pond. I know Moose Pond.
Do you really?
We used to go to Bridgeton in the summers and the winters.
No kidding.
Knights
Right
Hill.
on the Bridgeton, Denmark line. Near Knights Hill. Near Knights Hill
Yeah.
Road. There you go.
Wow, yeah.
about that?
Now
Shawnee
we go to
Peak?
Rangeley.
Okay.
But yeah, Shawnee Peak.
Yeah.
It used to be Pleasant Mountain, and it was Shawnee, and now it's
Yeah,
Pleasant.
actually, they ditched. They ditched the Shawnee part of it, right?
I think so, yeah.
And now it's
Yeah.
just back to Pleasant Mountain.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah,
Cool.
wow, Bridgeton.
Darren Buck, our worlds are colliding here. How about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, Moose Pond. There you go. It's a big lake. It is.
It is.
You know, you say Moose Pond, it's like people think a small little thing.
Yeah, all those locks that lead to other towns. Yeah,
It's
cool.
beautiful up there.
Yep,
My
yep.
grandparents bought a place there, many years ago, and the goal was to always keep they had like 7 kids. I have 7 aunts and uncles, and
Yeah.
the goal was to always keep like the cousins together and close. And
That's
it was
great.
always the rule. Nobody can buy the big house on the lake. It's got to be everybody in agreement. So keeps us all. Like I grew up, I have one sister, but I feel like I had
Yeah,
15,
you must go
you
to.
know?
Do you go to the Gastropub?
Yes, I've been there. Yeah, Bridgeton. I think I've probably been everywhere in Bridgeton. Actually, a little downtown.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
We play golf over at Lake Keezer Country Club over in Lovell.
Yeah.
That was my grandfather's course, and now my uncles all play there. And
Wow. Yeah, my dad, who passed away in January, he was a big lover of loons.
Yeah.
And he was a corporate guy, so when he could get out and just escape to Maine and just sit there and listen to loons, it was
Yeah.
And now every time we go up to Rangeley every summer, it's right on Rangeley Lake, of course, like clockwork. The loons,
Beautiful.
We actually did a gig. So we did a gig in Wareham a couple weeks ago, and right on the ocean. And somebody hired us to play this party, and I introduced this song, and I said, on lakes in Maine, and somebody was like, well, they're on the ocean too, and all of a sudden. Sure enough, loons just pulled up right in the water.
No way, really?
And then hung there for the whole
We're not
song.
making this fun.
It was crazy. It was like they were hired to do that.
That is unbelievable.
Cute.
Cute, yeah.
Out of worldly
I
there.
write
Yeah.
a song about bags of money falling from the sky.
That's great. Oh man, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I actually did not know loons were oceans.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
we didn't either.
Yeah. Just for that song, maybe. We're sure.
Yeah.
Too good. Again, Darren Buck joining us, Mike Loria of Hank Wonder. Fantastic. First timers on the show here. Hopefully not the last, because you guys are fantastic, and it's been a blast already. This is what album? When did you guys release this?
This was 2021, right? This was kind of a
started
pandemic.
in 19,
COVID.
stopped for COVID for a while, and then started back up.
And it's blue vinyl in there, and there's an album essay on the back. There's like everything, because I had so much time during COVID. Everything. I'm a graphic designer too, so everything was, I had to do everything just so.
People are incredibly particular about how they, rightfully so, with their albums, just because they're beautiful. I miss the old. I was telling you this off the air before. I once had a vision of filling this whole room up with albums, and then not all the artists that come in are making albums. They're like, I'd love to, man. I love an album. You know how much they are to make?
I know.
I know. I guess but
and they're not really cost. I mean, we sell them, and we sold a good number of them, but it's like it's hard. The amount you have to make of vinyl, and then to make it back, you have to sell a certain amount. But it's great. It's also so I have a turntable at home. I'm using it all the time. Just take something out of a sleeve, look at it. There's a song on this album actually that we're not going to do today, but called "My Marjorie," and it's all about a love affair that is no longer a thing, and what do you do with all the music that you shared? Like, you can't listen to it anymore because it brings back too many memories. So it kind of has that vinyl feel to it. That song. It
sounds better on vinyl too, doesn't it? Is it just psychological?
No, it gets mixed. It gets mixed differently for vinyl. So we had to, we talked about the expense of it. Not only that production of it, but it had to be re-engineered and remixed for the vinyl.
Yep. So like a warmer mix.
Definitely sounds better.
I think. Our producer too, Zach Hickman, he played on that album, but he said it's remarkable because both sides are like 18 minutes long. For some reason, your songs equal out to 18 minutes a side, which is like the golden. Oh wow! I guess for vinyl, like
Oh really?
That's what he told
Because
me.
when we first did it, there were 7 songs, and then we were like, okay, that's it. And then COVID struck, so we couldn't add the harmonies and a lot of the other things. But then we started fretting over that wasn't enough. And we started looking up, well, what is the official definition of an album? And what is...
EP versus album,
And then we got a break for a little while where the studios reopened. Sure. And we got a weekend. We went back into the studio and recorded 3 more songs that Darren had written. And then we thought, okay, 10's officially an album.
5 and 5.
Right. Yeah. There you go. So you're saying this is the best perfect album of all time?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what.
And all the critics are not saying it.
Fantastic. Is this? I thought it's okay. Gotcha. Is this van? Is this a traveling band of one of yours?
No, I wish.
It breaks down.
The album. The album takes its name from this song called "Waylaid in Grand Lake."
Okay.
Which is about this couple in Colorado that gets stranded, and in the song is "I tried to call you when our Westphalia." It's like a. Okay. It's part of the song, so that's.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So this is a broken down band.
It is. Yeah. Not working anymore.
Fantastic. Yeah. Very cool. What's the writing process for you? You one of those guys that's always writing, or?
No.
No. Okay.
No. I mean,
for a while you were.
For a while I was, only because I'd been in bands my whole life and I had ideas, but I always had an instrumentalist that had to help me with the chords and everything. Mm-hmm. So once I started playing guitar and got serviceable on the chords, they started to come. But I think the more I write songs, the longer they take to do, because I think I'm just more, I don't know, I like to think I'm crafting them more in a way I wasn't early on. And they came out because they were probably waiting to come out. That's how I look at it. And now, we have probably 4 songs or 5 songs towards the next one. We have a bunch of songs that I send them iPhone demos, and then Mike and Annie,
we work on our parts. And then when we finally get together, we all talk about what we think about it. And he's really open to if somebody heard something different, or Annie heard a different chord, or
that's not always the case.
Differently. He's always game to go through it, so we try out different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't hit. Like if I send a song or 2 and they don't get an immediate response, like I'm not offended by it. I don't want them bandmates to be playing a song and putting all that energy into a song that they don't believe in.
Sure.
Like then it's just me doing it. Like it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
So I like to think that the songs we do have been vetted by all 3 of us, and they've become. And Mike adds beautiful things that I would never have thought to add. Annie does the same. and then backup vocals come in.
It's almost like your first trial audience too, because chances are, if these guys don't like it, then it might not pass in the crowd. Is it?
Yeah, I think that's because Michael especially, he's been listening to music and learning from it his entire life. He's got a great sense of a good song. So when he gives me a compliment about a song, I'm like, okay, that's got to be something valuable right there.
Is there some that is it always like if you write a song really kind of just flows, it all just comes out of you? Does that happen, that magic where it's like you write a song really quickly, or are they always better if you do kind of grind on them for months, years? I don't know.
I don't know if any of the ones that I've had to work at all of them, but some more quickly than others. Like we have a song called Maybe, which is on this latest album too, and like I just thought the chorus was too basic. I'm like, no, that's never going to work as a chorus. But then somehow that chorus came really quickly. So I guess that might be an example of that. But then the rest of the song, I had to kind of work around the chorus. Gotcha. So I don't know. I feel like none of them ever happened the same way for me.
Yeah.
But maybe some more quickly, but never. They don't ever like. Oh my God, I woke up. Like Keith Richards talks about dreaming of a song.
Yes.
Satisfaction, maybe. Or?
I think so. Yeah, I heard that. I actually heard that interview recently.
Yeah. And like waking up and having to write it down because they didn't have an iPhone. So he was like making. I think they had a piano and he put like tape on the piano keys where the riff was or something. I don't know.
The riff in that was kind of basic.
Yeah.
I just heard Springsteen talk about that though, the dreaming thing, and he goes, "Never happens for me. It never works.
Yeah.
All the songs come out and they suck." But
I know. I don't think. Yeah. I'm no Springsteen, but I don't think that ever happened to me either.
I one time heard James Taylor say if he sat around and waited for divine intervention, he probably would have had 3 hit songs by this point.
Yeah, probably.
So,
there have been melodies for me that have there was one melody one of our songs on our first album, Devils. It's like that melody was in my head for probably 10 years. I just didn't know where it was going to fit.
Gotcha.
And I didn't have it recorded. It's just in my head. And somehow it finally fit into a song. So, but that I don't think that always happens.
That's funny. If you because that's kind of similar. I've seen Chad. I saw Chad cover James Taylor on this while you guys have been playing together. I think it was probably with Dispatch, though. Now that I think about it,
yeah.
Have you played with James Taylor or met him? Or
I've never. No, we played for some of the Taylor.
Livingston about 6 months ago.
Did you? Me too.
Yeah,
it was right around then.
He's a great guy.
Can I tell you a funny story with him? So this studio, he's right where you are. And he, the Plum Island I told you about, kind of its own separate world, has its own airport, all that stuff. He calls me. We had a mutual friend who was Livingston was going to do the show, but I hadn't talked to Livingston. I've interviewed him on the phone before, but never had a sit down with him like this. Livingston just calls me randomly. I don't know the number, and it's the day before the interview. And he goes, "Drew, how are you?" I go, "Good. Livingston Taylor here. I'm looking forward to the show tomorrow." Me too. It's going to be great. He goes, "So, I was thinking I'm going to fly my plane into Plum Island Airport." I said, "Oh. That's the first time somebody's flown their plane to my show." Okay. And he goes, "So I'm thinking from there I could take an Uber, but I'm thinking that might be difficult on Plum Island. Is there any way you can come pick me up at Plum Island Airport?" And I said, "I can definitely do that, Livingston." So I'm like, "What the?" Wow. Drive over, and they're like, and I don't know, I'll fly. I don't love to fly, but I certainly am never. I'm not too familiar with what it's like to fly an airplane by yourself.
Yeah.
I was very surprised that he just comes in, gets off the plane, shuts the door after parking it, and gets off the plane with his guitar. I felt like you had to check in somewhere or do something. He just waves and comes right over, and I go, "So that's it, huh?"
Wow.
No clicker to do.
No,
your doors. But
that was the only thing that wasn't similar, right? Wow. And then the best part, right? So we're driving back. He sounded great. Had a great show. We go back to the airport, and same thing. I actually took a picture of it because watching this guy, this legend with a guitar on his back, walking to his little airplane to fly out of this Plum Island I just had to take a picture of it. I'll keep it forever. I think it's great. But last thing he says to me, he turns around right after I take the picture, and he goes, "One thing, Drew, can you stay just to make sure the thing starts up?" My goodness.
Wow.
And there he goes.
Is he very witty too when he talks? Or is he quiet?
Not quiet. He's a little bit of everything. He will go on a topic for a while.
Yeah. Okay.
Clearly very smart, and will kind of. I don't even have to really ask much. Like one topic will lead him to another.
Yeah.
Clearly very smart, very analytical, and he's funny too. He has that thing where I think my boss. You won't mind me saying this. My boss came in and said something along the lines of, it's not the hardest job in the world. I mean, not his, meaning something else. They were talking about another topic, and he goes, yeah, what's harder? And he expected an answer, and it's very, very direct that, And she was like, "Oh, I don't know, I'd have to think." And he goes, "Oh, okay." like he had time.
Yeah.
It was like we wanted to hear what was harder.
Yeah.
So I thought it was fascinating. He's a great personality. Just I could pick away for days, But
Totally. And speaking of the Taylors, is when we did the rock opera on the Vineyard last summer for 2 nights, they were all like afterwards. You find out the people that you met briefly after the show were like some Taylor or Simon.
Sure.
They're all they're all hanging around on the island.
I bet. Yeah.
So cool.
Get around by plane if you ever need a pilot.
Yeah. I'm assuming he flew from the Vineyard. Is that where?
Yeah. So I watched him for a while too. He goes right along the coast, and he also told me, I don't know why I remember all this stuff, but I was fascinated that you don't have to check in anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, as long as you stay below the deck, you can kind of go up there, and you have your rules you have to stick by. But it's not like you clock in, and I'm sure he set his path beforehand, and that's
Wow,
it's crazy. Yeah. I thought that was fascinating, but I'll never be a pilot because
no.
It's a different breed, I think.
Yeah.
Make sure the thing starts for me, will you?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of Otis Redding.
Sure.
And I don't like the way he passed away. So I mean, not that I've never been in a small airplane, but it's just like I wouldn't want to do it too much.
Crazy. All right. So what if people want to find your music here? They're liking what they're hearing. Obviously, do you guys do like an Instagram thing where you're pretty good about, or?
Yeah, pretty good about that. And obviously we're on like Spotify and Apple Music and
Pandora.
Bandcamp and Pandora. Pretty good about I do all the Instagram stuff and all the Facebook stuff and all that stuff, so I'm pretty good about saying that.
We know who to blame if it's bad.
I know exactly.
Slack or something, right?
Yeah.
Darren Buck and Mike Laurie in the final couple minutes. What you do have to do real quickly, it's your first time on the show, before you play one more, is you have to do a quick rapid fire. We do it with all our first-time guests. Right. It's very easy, but, first thing that comes to mind. We'll start down. Who wants to go first?
I will.
You want it? All right. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Ciappino.
Ooh. I kind of want to follow up on that, but okay. Favorite musician?
Jackson Brown.
Otis Redding.
Favorite movie?
Meatballs.
Office Space.
Okay. Favorite venue in the world to play?
Ooh, T-Can in Natick.
Club Passim.
Nice. Best concert you ever been to?
Jackson Brown.
Tragically Hip.
Okay. Where were those 2 shows?
Jackson I saw at the Wang.
Oh, okay. Good spot.
Tragically Hip was at the Pump House in Syracuse, New York.
Okay. Last one. I like to end with this one. We got a lot of the guys kind of playing like the bar scene, local scene, kind of bouncing around all the time. A lot of the young ones, do I make that move to full-time musician? You guys have seen a lot. I've been in several bands. I'm wondering, what is your best advice to the young aspiring musician?
Do it for the love, not for the money. A friend of ours just put that on her album. I think that's good advice to musicians.
Yeah, and I would say use playing a cover as an education. Like you're learning about vocal delivery and song form. I feel like you're going to the library.
You know what I'm saying there too, because that's the grind, right? It's like, oh my God, they're requesting Zach Bryan again.
Rebirth.
Yeah.
And like you're learning. You're like on the inside of a song, learning about how to write a song.
That's good advice.
For better or for worse.
That's a good answer to that one. I like that. All right, you guys are going to bring us home with one?
Yeah.
Sure.
Darren Buck and Mike Loria here on guitar. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Darren. You guys have been great. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us. We'll come back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's been fun. You sound great in this room.
Oh, thanks. Turn it into a club. This song is yet to be recorded, but that's our plan. At some point, it's called Late Bloomer.
All right.
Brand new one.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time, everybody. Go check out Hank Wonder.
Not everybody gets to Carnegie Hall, but the first note you play might be the start of it all. There ain't no shame in strumming a little tune, even if you never leave your living room. So damn all the doubters, what do they know? You're gonna leave them in the dust and watch them all eat crow. Hallelujah, you can be a late bloomer. Well, if you need a little fat so that you can relate, Grandma Moses started painting at 78. She couldn't sew no more, fingers tremble too much. Put it down the needle and picked up a brush. Ain't the world lucky that you took that dive? I learned all about it when I was just 5. are good, there's a chance you should take. Feel your back slumping, little less hirsute. Get your blood pumping with a new